What up? What up? What is happening, Dolphins fans? And welcome to another episode of the Fins Tailgate with your host, El Capitan. And tonight, we're going to discuss a couple of things, right? I got a couple of notes written down. Been some stuff, been hot topic items that I haven't gotten to, but we are going to now. Like these mock drafts, everybody knows mock drafts are going on, getting close. Also, franchise tag day started today. So at 4 p.m., I think it was the start time on Eastern. Then there's, some other embarrassing stuff that I want to point out. And we're going to get all into it. Make sure you guys on your way in are hitting the like button, subscribing if you are new. Welcome all who are subscribed. Again, hit the like button. We're going to get right into it.
Turner Yell makes the stop in the secondary for Denver. 1st and 10. The fake. Good. Block in there, and down it goes. Caught at the 30. This is the dynamic throw. He's in for 6. Tyreek Hill. Touchdown.
Take into your hands a plan, your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the hours it takes to get some power. Don't be f***ing sour, take a cold shower, scream until you're louder, work until you're prouder, and f*** all the doubters, they're just your downers. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm off, it's these fucking clowns who were all taught they deserve it now. It's only worth it if you work for it.
Let's get it. Let's get it. Hit the like button on the way in, everybody. Thank you for showing up. I am your host, El Capitan. And yes, a weird sense of sunsing been being talked about. Again, we know it's draft time is upon us. We know what the dealio is. It's, round the yonder. People got, NFL draft guys doing it. Tis the season. We're a couple of days from, combine and stuff. And we're going to get into all that, especially this week coming up, looking at stuff, taking a look at players. Listen, you can have guys ranked, all that stuff, but the combine means something. And some of these guys might pop out with some of these statistics that are going to be, something we're going to be interested in. But with these mock drafts coming out and a lot of people talking about it and big-time pundits, all these dudes, there's been some capping going on, right? Been some capping. And one of the big ones, we're going to get into that. I'm going to play some audio from it too. But shout out to everybody in chat. I see you boys. What's up, Dolphinaire, Kenna, The Show, Daniel, Kevin Lee, the family member in here. What's happening, everyone? Hit the like buttons on the way in. So let's get this kicked off, right? So a take in which I've heard is the Dolphins taking a quarterback in the first round. Now, I have kind of made this take in a similar realm, right? If the Dolphins find a way to move down in the draft, acquire picks, and then a quarterback that they have highly touted on their board falls in their lap, while the other positions in which that are available to them are significantly lower, then you stay on the board, bro. You stay on the board. But staying put and not reaching would be a mistake. But if there's draft capital acquired in that type of thing, then maybe I could understand it. It does create a narrative of immediate, hey, Tua's got a competition, all this stuff. And yeah, that's something to be said. And I'm all for that too. I don't care. Competition it up. What's up, Frost? That, salute, family member. Hello. But this guy's take is a little bit different. My sentiment on trading back and acquiring a quarterback, any of them, is a little bit more vague. This is a manipulation of the board. But targeting, this guy's talking about a target. It's kind of dumb. Like, even if you don't extend to it, you have him for the 5th year, right? Competition is a good thing to show. I like competition. I've even stated and will continue to state that I think we should draft a quarterback for competition or potentially to utilize as a piece. Utilize as a piece. I mean, listen, if a guy's brought in via the draft, right, or even a guy in free agency that, you know, like, you know me, I got a little thing for that Jake Browning. I think, you know, I'd like to see more. That's all I want to say, right? I don't know if he's a starter. I don't know if it was just a fizzled out flame, but fins up. But to me, that you know, bringing it in. Now, again, just listen to this take. And shout out Wilson, Joel, Jimmy. I see you guys. Hit the like button, everybody. I'm just going to play this take because hearing how he explains it is for all the wrong reasons. And I'm going to tell you why. Let me pull this up. I'm only going to be able to play the audio for you guys, but this is Joel Klatt show. Now, I'm just going to let you listen to his take. I'll comment on it as the video goes, but just hear this. And let me know in chat if you guys can hear it.
Now 21, the Dolphins are on the clock. This is, I think, a very fascinating pick. And the reason is because they need to make a decision on Tua's contract. He's entering year 5 of his rookie deal. And
So, listen, by how homie starts out right now, I kind of understand. You know, listen, if Tua rides this 5th year, thank you, the show. Thank you, everybody. If Tua rides this 5th year, and the Dolphins know that, right? Then bringing a guy in as an insurance policy, again, if they move down in the draft, I got to understand, you know, necessity too. You're not going to, you know, you're going in with a whole new cast of characters at offensive linemen, and you know that, and aren't going to, you know, and you take a quarterback in the first round, you're kind of setting up the Dolphins up for failure, you know? I don't think that's going to be the case, but you're also got to think, you know, Christian Wilkins and other pieces like Xavien Howard, and we're going to get into that too. These pieces leave, you need to think about that as well. So, again, in no way, shape, or form am I thinking that picking a quarterback in the first round is going to immediately impact my team, and that's what you want from your first-round picks. But I also understand the ideology that if you err on the side of caution and you're worried about Tua and going to definitely ride out the 5th year, and there's reasons for that, right? There's reasons for that. We know this. He's had injuries, had concussions. These are realistic problems. Then I can understand it too. And I'll tell you what, if Tua did go down and they did draft a quarterback, they would look like geniuses. But let this guy continue, right?
As I explained earlier, there are so many advantages to not paying your quarterback.
I agree with that. Riding out with a young dude, unless you know. Now, I'll give you a for instance, right? There was 2 seasons ago, it looked like Trevor Lawrence was that dude. I'll give you a better for instance. This past season, looks like CJ Stroud is that dude. It very well may both be. Or they could follow it up with a bunch of mediocre or lesser years and or injury, and you really gotta ask yourself, are these injuries something I need to concern myself about? Is this play? And the team at large would know if there's like a language barrier, a technological barrier, limitations in the game that they know they can overcome because they've seen them now 4 years. Or you need to see a little bit more and ride out that 5th. Right? And yes, Greg, I agree. Salute to the homie Greg, the family member. CJ Stroud, by all accounts, what I seen, homie's good, right? I knew it. I was like, oh damn, dude, CJ Stroud is the creme de la creme of that quarterback draft coming out, not Bryce Young. And when it's all said and done, I don't think Bryce Young gonna make it, dog. That boy needs to eat his Wheaties. I thought Tua looked a little small when he came into the league. Bryce Young, holy cow, that guy, he looks like a fucking old kicker. He looks like just a little dude out there. Remember when in the 90s they were getting all these Italian kickers? They were small guys and stuff, could kick the hell out of the football, but they were little. You weren't asking that guy to make a tackle. But, okay. What up, Steve, the homie? Salute to you, buddy. Shout out to Steve, who I was over there at Fin Talk Sports Network and doing a Real Talk with Steve and Rod over there and Bobby's crew. Appreciate you guys. It was a fun time, man. I had a good time. Well, you want to know something, Michael K? He says, embarrassing. Did you poopy your pants at Walmart? Michael K, who loves to force me to read these comments by purchasing them. It forces me to post them and read and have to address him. This is what interactive YouTube television is all about. This is how it works. You want to get the interaction. That's what it does. And I don't even shop at Walmart, bro. Like, for real. Like, I have, but it's become a hassle in my life. Not just because it's Walmart, and I hate Walmart. First of all, everything at Walmart is single use. I don't care if it's, unless you're buying like a TV, but if you're buying a TV at Walmart, anyhow, everything you buy at Walmart, it's like a single use. It's like garbage right afterwards. Like, it's just not even like, anyhow, I don't really go to Walmart for the main reason is that I don't carry a wallet. Like, I got everything on my phone and I digital pay, and Walmart is so behind the times still that they don't have that. So I am not shopping with them until they get with the program. See that? I had to go on a long-ass soliloquy now because of your damn comment. So, all right. So I kind of understand where homie's going a little bit. I'm all about riding the fifth year, and I've got a point about why riding the fifth year is the lesser of two evils for me. And I'll make that real quick before we continue to play the video or audio, excuse me. If you pay the quarterback, and whether it's this amount of money in guarantees or that amount of money in guarantees, it's still the amount, and it's going to affect this franchise in either a positive way or more often than not in a negative way, where if the guy doesn't work out, it usually results in a couple years of trying and it not working out, then about 2 more years of rebuilding, and that definitely not working out. Well, I mean, maybe the rebuild in the process might get better, but it's going to be the tear down, the rebuild, and then you got to draft a guy and hope that you knock it out of the park with that one. You haven't tried but once every 6, 7, 8 years, however long that is in the total timeline. So saying wait 1 more year before I start that cycle up, I'm always going to be all right with that. I'm always going to be all right with that, especially if it's, we're talking about riding his 5th year. He's already under the contract. I get the positive side of manipulation of the cap and the monies and all that other stuff, and we're going to talk about that later, but I don't give a damn. I don't care. Don't tell me about your problems, dog. Y'all made them problems. We're going to talk on that. But, so, his points thus far, I understand. And I'm going to, play it back a little bit.
This is, I think, a very fascinating pick. And the reason is because they need to make a decision on Tua's contract. He's entering year 5 of his rookie deal. And as I explained earlier, there are so many advantages to not paying your quarterback.
You keep recycling until you think you have your guy to pay. Makes sense.
That second deal. I'm going to say this with as much compassion as I can, in particular being a guy that struggled immensely with concussions.
Oh, ooh. Okay. So now dude, so much of the fan base does not want to hear about concussions when pertaining to Tua. I get it. The guy had an absolute great season, staying healthy, health-wise. It was something we needed to see because we know what we've seen the season prior. Was a guy that had concussions. He's had injuries in his past, but concussions is a far more serious thing. You can, you break a bone, you can heal from that. Hurt your knee, you can heal from that. There's far too much unknowns with the human mind. Maybe not so much the brain as the organ, but the human mind and how things are affected when you're talking about like things like concussions. So it is a serious issue, and I understand the empathy of this guy who has suffered from concussions inserting himself. But here's where he's going off target.
Struggled immensely with concussions. I suffered 10 concussions in my 3 years as a quarterback in college.
Dang.
Some of you might be going like, oh, now it makes a lot of sense. And to those of you, touche.
Is he saying like, oh, people are saying you're an idiot? That makes sense? Because this is kind of stupid.
Giving Tua a huge deal, I think, is risky. I think it's risky. He has been injury prone outside of that, but that's clearly something that I can just, let me just say, like from firsthand experience.
Okay, I'll give him this. He is talking about his own personal experiences dealing with the concussions. I got him. Again, all reasons I would ride the fifth. That's his point being made thus far. It's when he changes it to quarterback picking is where I feel like he kind of loses us.
It doesn't get better. It's not like a ligament. Okay, so what ends up happening is less and less of an impact creates more symptoms and a greater degree of those symptoms. So that makes me nervous.
Well, I think, and the science kind of proves his point because we know scar tissue buildup in the head is a bad thing, right? So concussions create scar tissue in the brain. And again, the science isn't there to know. Now he's telling where his experience is, and we can't deny it. I mean, look, if anybody of you guys watch UFC or boxing, right? Buddy can have a million fights, gets knocked out, and then all of a sudden they really start getting clipped, and then that's their career's over. Like we've seen it happen a million times. Buddy gets knocked out, he fights 3 more fights, he got knocked out in 2 more of them, his career's probably over, right? Because the concussions, the knockout gene, that type of stuff, it kind of happens. But so I understand that.
I have said this before. A guy that I could see stepping into that offense with that coach with those weapons and looking like he did in college is Michael Penix.
Okay, now here is the crux. Michael Penix. Now I understand his observation. Lefty, system quarterback, attributes, similarities in a lot of ways, right? I get it. I get that. I get how someone plainly can look at Penix and look at Tua and say, yeah, they're kind of in the same bit of realm. I think Tua has a more refined game, especially at this point. Let's call it for what it is. Penix will be a rookie coming in. But, there's also something else to the Penix argument. Now, probably heard me the other day. I can't remember when it was. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't on here. Maybe it was somewhere else. I don't know. I'm all over these places. But, again, if the Dolphins trade back, acquire some form of good capital, and Penix lands to him a second time, and on their board it dictates as such, I'm not opposed to them making it. I'm going to be judgmental. I'll be watching it ever so carefully, and I very well, in the long term, might be upset with it, but it could work out and benefit in a multitude of ways by drafting a quarterback. But doing it the way I'm saying, not the way this guy's saying. 21, get him, take him. Because really, he's really pointing out where this person's career could be and end up. And he's pointing it out with the injuries, right? And I'm sorry, but Penix has had injuries. And he's torn his ACL twice. He's torn his shoulder. He's torn AC joints, stuff like that. He's got joint problems that has happened in his past. So it's not like he's walking in this uninjured guy. It is something to also take into consideration, especially when I feel like he's being very narrow-sighted, and maybe because he played quarterback, right? He's looking at it through the lens of the passer and the importance of the position, and hey, I'm about it too. But you also got to weigh the options. I have an injury-prone quarterback that you want to bring in an injury-prone quarterback to be the what? What happens if Tua goes down, then Penix goes down? Now I want to kill everybody. Like, this is the most irritating thing I could ever think. This franchise would blow its lid if at the first pick they pass up on things we know would start to sit a quarterback that finally gets his shot and then gets injured. That would, that's a powder keg, bro. It's a powder keg. But, okay, let's let him continue.
Imagine starting over with a rookie deal at that position, solidifying some of the things that they've got, in particular in their skill position, and having a guy that, quite honestly, is a better downfield passer than Tua.
That is debatable. That is debatable. And I would say Tua's college tape versus Penix college tape, as far as passing the ball downfield goes, is very comparable against opponents that they can go against. Penix still going into the NFL. I'm not going to expect him. I don't think he possesses a stronger arm. And there's also something people discount that I think is becoming more and more of an issue that people don't talk about, that I think is a factor. The ball from college to pros. And now, it might not be such a big difference or difference with the football and all that stuff, but there is a difference in the balls, as you know. It could be very minute when you're talking about it. But for these smaller type guys, it's all that more effective as far as it being a problem that is under consideration. Just saying. Not that it's something they can't overcome, but certainly right out of college into the NFL and then executing it down in and down out. I think it's something to consider, especially with the smaller type quarterbacks. I mean, listen, I got to see Penix throw that stronger arm in the NFL to judge that versus to throwing it in college, where if I was judging the equal tape from college from both quarterbacks, it would be that. That's how you do it. I'm not gonna take whatever. Fuck it. So let's continue.
Penix is a better downfield passer than Tua. Tua does a lot of things well. And in some respects, like if I was Sean Payton and Tua was on the open market, that would be a perfect marriage. So I'm not saying that like Tua.
And we're gonna get into that, right? Because I hear people talk about, trade Tua. And then I also hear people say nobody would want him. And then I also hear people say there's a bunch of teams that would take Tua in a heartbeat. And we're going to break that down here next. But I want to let this finish this video from Joel Klatt over here on his pick that the Dolphins sit at the 21st pick and select Michael Penix. And here is his reasons.
Is not going to be in the league, but I'm just saying, if you're the Dolphins, you got to really think about this. Yes, Tyreek had a great.
See, herein lies my problem, right? I understand the things he's talking about versus, paying Tua and now having another window under a rookie deal. I kind of understand that, right? The thing is that is Penix going to come in here as a clear upgrade and be that much more effective than Tua day one? I don't understand. You know what I'm saying? It's just an odd take for his reasons. He's making good ones, but he's also saying Penix comes in and he's better in every way other than the ways I think, which is financially it's better. Okay. His column to pros and cons is completely out of whack. It's completely out of whack.
Great year. How many times did Tyreek have to adjust on an underthrown ball? Now, maybe that's a bad example because the guy is so fast. But
why does he kill his own example? Stand on your feet, dog. You're shitting on Tua. Shit all the way. Like, come on, bro. That's cool. I've shit on Tua. Fuck him. How about that? I don't give a damn about just Tua. I care about these Dolphins. But this dude, what do you play? Don't play all sides of the fence. Don't tell me, how many times Tyreek had to come back for the ball. All right, fine. You right. He has had to do that, but I've seen him have to do that before for everybody. Well, not everybody, but Patrick Mahomes had to do it for. But again, I feel like that's a lazy take by him. He knows that's one of the tropes. And he knows that that's a trope and that's not how he really feels because he immediately rebuts himself.
But it happens a lot. It happens a lot. Meanwhile, the best attribute that Michael Penix has, the number one attribute, is his ability to throw with great leverage and accuracy down the field. Down the field.
Okay. I will say this. Tua's shots down the field last year were pretty accurate and good. So that's not really good. Now, I haven't heard him say arm strength. He said better thrower of the football downfield and more accurate downfield than Tua. And I don't think that's true.
Him in that offense, to me, is like, I want to see it. I think it would be amazing. And so Penix to the Dolphins.
Okay. So by the end of the take, he really told you why he's making this take. What's up, X Factor? Salute the homie. Jermaine, what's good, homie? See you in there. Hit the like button, everybody. I don't know, man. Like, again, I'll understand if they trade back and Buddy's there with the 26th pick and they picked up a second rounder, front half of the second round, and Penix is still in their lap, and they're like, yo, we only got 4 more picks to get our guy, or 6 more picks to get our guy, and they know on the board what these teams are going to take or not going to take, and they have rated with the pick they possess 2 or 3 guys they think that are going to be there, and Penix is sitting up there. Shit, you don't know. They could grab him and trade him to another team for a haul or something the next year. If he does get on the field and shows effectiveness in this system, great. But I feel like his takes were, he was trying to justify what he wants to happen, not what is the visible truths. That's all. Like, make it opinion-based. Because he came back at the end, he's like, I want to see what that offense looks like with Penix and these weapons. That was kind of the take I think was really about it. But let's get into this exercise, right? Say the Dolphins do go that route and wildly take Penix at 21st. That would mean the Dolphins either already have a trade partner in mind or something worked out. Because you draft, bottom line, you draft a quarterback in the first round with the 21st pick right now, you have all but guaranteed that guy's going to get looked at in a shot in the starting position. When that comes, I don't know. But a lot of quarterbacks don't like that. They demand trades. Or typically, you had a trade in mind. I'm not saying that there isn't teams out there that wouldn't trade for Tua right now. But what teams would? And how many do you think that is? I'm asking you guys in chat. How many teams do you think right now would say, yeah, these teams would trade for Tua. How many do you think? There's 32 teams. What's up, John? Hit the like button, everybody. Just takes one team. That's true, the show. That's true. But again, for argument's sake, right, I hear a lot of arguments when it talks about this. And some people say Tua is untradeable. No team in their right mind would trade for Tua because we're asking for a, something, right? You're asking for something, and any team that's going to trade Tua for the something, well, bro, they gotta feel pretty good about him because he's on his 5th year, and you're gonna have to pay him right away. So show says 5 or 6 maybe. Okay. Let's do the exercise, right? Let's go down the list. And I just so happen to have a list right here. So we'll actually do this alphabetically. First team, Baltimore. They're not trading for Tua. They're not. Lamar just got paid. They already went through this. He was franchise tag guy, the whole nines, right? Like, it's not going to be Baltimore. It's not going to be the Bills, right? I mean, man, that would be nuts. Again, perceptively, it's not going to be any team with a starting quarterback or one that's under a contract. So I'm going to rattle through these real quick because there's a lot of them already, all AFC teams right off rip that are going to say no. Baltimore, no. Bills, no. Bengals, no. They got Joe Burrow. Cleveland Browns, for better or for worse, and I still think the book isn't even, finished. Now, it could be finished. Could be wrong, but with the Browns, with Deshaun Watson, does he turn the page, start a new chapter? Maybe. Now, the next team that comes into mind, and I seen somebody put it in chat, highly and the most likely, and the dude in the video or the audio play, Joel, made this point. Denver. The Denver Broncos. Everybody knows they're gonna move off Russell Wilson. Like that is happening. There's real discussions on where Russell Wilson will end up. And that's another thing we're going to talk about, the embarrassing part around here. And we'll get into that. So, but if they do move off Russell Wilson, they're not in the greatest of draft positions. It's not like they're in the top half of the board. I think they're the team to look out to take a guy like Penix personally. But if they don't want to do that, or say Sean Payton is like, no way, I am not coaching for another 8 years. I need my guy now. And he's done that. That's what he did to get Drew Brees. Could he stomp his foot and take Tua Tagovailoa? Potentially. And I think it's one of the more high likely teams that would be in the trade market for him. And, potentially working out for both parties too. So let's continue, though, okay? So right now we have one team. Everybody in chat, type in one team, Denver, so it's in the chat so I know, and we'll count this down together. Next team, Colts. They just got AR-15, Anthony Richards. They're going to want to see what they got in this guy. He's under a rookie deal. He's not going anywhere. Next team, Jacksonville Jaguars. They got Trevor Lawrence. I think they're all pretty good on there. They're certainly not going to move off Trevor Lawrence and his rookie deal for Tua for 1 year left. No, it's not happening. Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes. Bro, no, ain't nobody ever freaking. Now, another team, interesting enough. I think this team is dead set on the draft, and I'll be watching closely. But the Las Vegas Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders. a team that I could see their owner is a wild card, to say the least. I'm not in any short memory loss that I think that he's a guy that is in love with a quarterback like Tua, but it is closer to the West Coast. Maybe he wants to tap into that market, on that side of the NFL with, the cultures and stuff. I don't know. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll go ahead and put the Raiders as a team. So right now we have two teams. We have the Broncos and the Raiders. Oddly and funny enough, right? Same division as the Chiefs. Next team on here is the Chargers. They are definitely not trading for that. Yada, yada, yada. Now, here's an interesting team, right? Super interesting team. The New England Patriots. We know that there's this quarterback dissension going on between McCorkle, who was benched, for Billy Zappi. But there's been a regime change. The big bad wolf Bill Belichick is not in there no more, right? Now maybe they've seen enough of McCorkle. Maybe he's got the Tannehill effect right now. He needs to go somewhere else to, maybe they trade him and get something back as well. But look at Billy Zappi. Look at McCorkle. Look at Tua. Similar style of offenses that they want them to run. Maybe they're in love with that type of style of quarterback, and maybe they would be on the trade market. Odd to think. I could also see on the other end of the argument that they say, no, we are trying this system out. We had the Alabama quarterback. We had another douchebag McGee and Zappi. Ooh, look at that, rhymed. And we're changing. We're changing it. We're not going this direction. And who knows? Who knows what their whole situation and which direction they're going to go? Or do they just say, hey, I still got guys under young, cheap options. I'm going to draft a guy, which that's probably going to happen, and ride out these other dudes under rookie contracts too. So what do you guys say? Right now we've got two teams. We've got the Broncos, and we've got, what was the other team? The Raiders. Are we putting the Patriots on there? Let me know in chat. We putting the Patriots in there? Billy Batson. What do you guys think? Patriots on this bandwagon? We're going down the list, everybody. I'm gonna get to every team. We're counting. That's the point. I don't need to. We're gonna go down the list, and we're gonna decide together. So no on the Patriots. Patriots drafted 3, so no. Yeah, show. I mean, for the sake of the exercise, I'm thinking no as well. We are going no on the Patriots. Only 2 teams still, Raiders and Broncos. Let's continue down the list. Well, it's not going to be the Jets. Rodgers is coming back. They got to see that show. They got to know what that looks like before they figure something else out, because Rodgers is ancient. Now, here's the thing, and I've seen this in chat. I've seen you guys mention this in chat. The Pittsburgh Steelers. Is the Rudolph era over? And more importantly, has Kenny Pickett finally met his end? Injury prone, tiny hand, limited, but also, they kind of, dude, that forever they had big, gigantic, goofy, mofos at quarterback over there. Outside of the Cordell Stewart experiment, they were really, Big Ben and big dudes like that. Do they try to go in a different direction? Because, Kenny Pickett and Tua, not that Tua isn't lights. Tua's 10 times better than Kenny Pickett. But I'm just talking about styles and quarterbacks versus to Big Ben, right? Like, do they look to try to go back? I know that, Q, but Rudolph is a free agent, but nobody's picking him up, and he's going to end up back on the Steelers unless they make a big change at quarterback. He's their big goofy guy right now that they like. They just can't get the production out of him that they wish they could, because we both know he's a big goofball. And you're saying it's Pickett. But Q, wouldn't you want the Steelers to get him? Wouldn't you say the Steelers want him? You're a Steelers fan. You love the Steelers. You love Tua. You are of Samoan culture. Wouldn't you want him? I don't think the Steelers would do it either. Just to be clear. Oh, of course. Well, okay. Stay on it. I hear you, Ali. Ali going hard as hell in chat. Salute, Ali. All right, let's go to the next team. So we're still only at 2 right now. Tennessee Titans. I mean, look, they got Will Levis. They just pulled their entire coaching staff to the studs. I think they're gearing up for more of a breakdown to set up the rebuild than they are looking to get a guy in the building right now. So for just reasons alone, now could the Tennessee owner? Now I'm taking everything's on the board for me. This is true, Tyrone. This is true. I see your comment and I hear you. But I gotta not think of certain stuff, right? Like we gotta. Again, I'm sure they're going to take that into consideration, and that might be a reason why they say no, like Pittsburgh. Like, yo, cold weather up here all the time. He ain't built for this football. So be it. Maybe that's the reason that Kenny Pickett, who wears gloves, is having the problems. But okay. Tennessee, I don't know. If they wanted to, like, rebuild everything, and I don't see Tennessee doing it either. So we're still at 2 teams. Now, here's an interesting team. Atlanta Falcons. And I've seen this up and down on the chat. A team like the Atlanta Falcons, would they be interested in the services of Tua Tagovailoa? Right next door, they could tap right into the main line of that Alabama deal. Now, granted, it is Georgia. Georgia, Alabama have no love for each other. But isn't Desmond Ridder still on his rookie deal? Wasn't that just his second season? Dude, the Falcons, since losing the Super Bowl, has easily become one of the most uninteresting football teams in the NFL. It's crazy. It's crazy. They have become absolutely unwatchable. Since Matty Ice walked out of the building, they're in the hole, dog. They're in the hole. Now, for that reason alone, would they want to bring in a guy like Tua Tagovailoa? Because they need something in that city right now. It is terrible. But they're also way high in the draft. Are they getting it? Really, the show. You thinking the Falcons, huh? A lot of people saying yes. A lot of people are saying Atlanta, yes. All right, then. We will put Atlanta as team number 3. So right now, we're up to 3 teams. We got the Chargers. We got the Raiders. We got the Broncos. And we got the Falcons. Carolina Panthers. No. They got Bryce Young. Arizona Cardinals. I don't think the Arizona Cardinals can. I think they're like on the absolute hook right now. I think they're absolutely on the hook with Kyler Murray. Greg, are the Cardinals absolutely just stuck with Kyler Murray this coming season? Like there's no possible way for a trade? I want to say that's the case. They're stuck with Kyler, aren't they, Show? They are. Yeah, that's what I thought. So they can't. They've taken themselves off the board in this instant. So they're screwed. Here's another team I think we could put on the list. Now I get, and I know Tyrone's finna pipe up on this one because of, pointing out the elements being ineffective quarterbacks. But the Chicago Bears. The Bears. Now, if I'm going to live in fantasy land, right, and we're going to talk about the Bears who are in the market for a new quarterback and also willing to trade the one that they got. But I don't see how come the 21st pick that the Bears haven't already got their guy. So we're gonna have to take the Bears, even though I think that potentially now okay, maybe we won't take the Bears off, right? Because maybe they don't give up. Well, they're definitely probably not gonna give up that first round pick. But don't they have multiple first rounders? Don't they have multiple picks? Maybe they can make an enticing package to the Dolphins because they want to. Now, if they're buyers, I'm the Dolphins. I'm like, I don't want to, I'll give you Tua and my first rounder, and you give me your first rounder. Let me move all the way up the draft. Or you give me Fields a second, and I'll give you Tua and my first, or something like that. I don't know. Whatever the hell they want to do. It's too much maneuvering for my liking, which is why I would like to take them off the list as not being the fourth team. Because it's hard when you consider in all the options. But what do you guys think? Shut up, Billy. Shut up. I'm just going through the list. This guy had this article. He had this segment where the Dolphins take Penix at 21. And I say, okay, so if they're taking Penix at 21, they got to trade Tua. And there's so many people who talk about this argument of no one would ever dare trade for Tua. Or then there's people on the opposite side. There's so many teams. There's more than half the league would trade for Tua. That's a take I've heard plenty. More than half the league would take Tua. And I'm going to find that out. We're going right through this right now. We're going through it this minute. That's what we doing. And right now, we's talking about the Bears. And I don't know. You guys tell me. Bears are drafting 1 and 9, 2 top 10 picks. Bears say, hey, Dolphins, we're trading back from the number 1 and we're getting a haul. We're getting a haul. In that trade, we're still going to keep the 9th pick, but we're also getting 11th and we're getting something else and we're getting shit in the future. But we want to take a shot. We're willing to give you the 11th pick in the draft if you give Tua to us. We'll give you that 11th pick in the draft that we're getting. Shout out to Kevin Lee, renewing his membership. Been a member forever. How about Tua to Tampa and Baker to Miami? QB swap cap. Miami gains $26 million in cap. That's a smart move. Plus Baker can play in the cold and warm weather. Just makes a lot of sense. Now you very well may have something, Kevin. I'm willing to play this game with you, buddy. And we're going to get to Tampa. I could see them on the list. They're coming up. We will revisit this. So, Ali, I see you hiding back there. You want to pop in? Got something to say? Come on down. I will say this. What do you think, Ali? You think these Dolphins and these Bears got business? I mean, we're talking in hypotheticals right now,
There's a possibility. You guys don't really want to know my real feelings. To be honest.
Well, but okay. What the Dolphins saying trading, but we're talking about viable options. And again, I'm addressing these narratives we keep hearing. I'm addressing the narrative that there's no teams that would trade for him, which isn't true. And then I'm addressing the narrative that more than half the league would trade for him, which I also think is not true. And we're going to break it down right now.
Definitely a handful of teams that would definitely trade.
Sure, right now we're up to 3.
The Patriots would definitely do it. I really feel like the Panthers would really do it. I think they really realized the mistake they made taking the guy number 1.
You think the Panthers would do it?
Yeah, dude, that guy is a bust. You know who I'm talking. I can't think of his name.
Bryce Young, and I agree with you. I think Bryce Young is absolutely trash. I really do.
They really flumbered. They should have taken C.J. Stroud in a heartbeat. I told everybody, and that's what they should have done. Who else would take?
I'm in agreement with you, but here's the thing, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. We saw what happened with Tua and Herbert, and we saw how Tua has gotten better. Now, Herbert, yes, has a stronger arm and has gotten paid and believed in 100% from his organization before Tua. But I'm not saying Bryce Young. Dude, I agree with you. But teams are not going to move off. Well, I don't know. They have moved off a guy real quickly like that. The Arizona Cardinals did it.
Well,
but
here's the thing. And actually, not even Arizona Cardinals, the San Francisco 49ers did that. They traded like 3 first-round picks and moved off the guy and still got themselves to a Super Bowl. So, yeah, I think teams are willing to do it in the right situation. But here's the thing. We could trade Tua to the Panthers, and they could still keep Bryce Young and have him the guy in waiting because he's so cheap. You know what I mean? He's on a contract. That's kind of how I'm looking at it.
You know what, Ali? Didn't even consider that. Consider that point.
I do have a sleeper team for Tua. It's not the Bears.
Well, hold on. Let me continue down the list. So, all right, let's take this into consideration. Right now, we have 3 teams that we've put on the potential trade list, right? We've got the Raiders, we've got the Broncos, and we've got the Falcons. We're going to revisit this Panthers. I want to hear in chat right now, would the Panthers, for the reasons that Ali has now made, would they be a team that would be in the trade market for Tagovailoa? Let me know. Yes or no. Just yes or no, everybody.
I think it's a possibility. Not saying it's going to happen, but I just said it's a possibility.
Well, we're just putting it on here, right?
Yeah, there's a team that I really think there's a strong possibility that you haven't mentioned yet, and that's.
Well, yeah, I'm going through the list. Alphabetically for the most part.
Alphabetically.
Yeah, something like that. So, okay, I think we're getting no's. John says yes. And you know what? I will take this into consideration when you say this. And I know this to be a fact. When the Dolphins were looking for trade partners for Tua in the years prior, it was the Panthers that were first in line all the way up until they drafted Bryce Young. And that's for every year until they drafted him. That the Dolphins, because I'm sorry, but the Dolphins every year has looked for quarterbacks. Even when they got Tua, they were trying to go up for Burrow. Then they had Brady. Then they had Deshaun. Then they had Lamar. So that's 4 quarterbacks in 4 years that have been thought about and looked at, especially with the owner. Who's the guy who signs the checks? So when you guys are talking and considering about, Tua's going to get this bag and yada, 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 remember who's signing the checks and who's been the guy, thinking about it. Anyhow, but yeah, to his point, but I'm seeing a lot of no's.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of no's. So we're gonna keep
happening, that's all.
We're gonna keep the Panthers off the list. But I could see what you're saying. You make great points. That I didn't consider, especially about, hey, they could make Tua play on his 5th and let Bryce Young sit in the wings and learn from the master. Maybe they think he's better and they have options.
They could sign him to a long-term deal and still keep Bryce Young on the wings, because you virtually can keep Bryce Young cheap for the next 4 years, right?
So shout out to Glenn. He makes a point. You don't give up on a quarterback in his first year. But didn't they give up on what's his name after his first year? No, it wasn't his first year.
There was a guy that they had there that they only had him for 2 years and they moved off of him.
Oh yeah, no. There's been plenty of teams that do that.
Moore, I think his last name is. I could be wrong. I know
Anyhow.
they had a quarterback that they moved off after 2 years.
So let's get on. Hold on. Shout out to V21, the homie, real quick. If a team trades for Tua, won't they have to pay him? So no, because he's still under his rookie contract. Yes, it was Josh Rosen. Thank you, man. The show is on point tonight, buddy. Salute. Yeah. V21. No, they'll still have him on the 5th year now. Essentially, if you're trading for a quarterback in his 5th year, you've kind of said, yeah, I want to pay him. But that could be something discussed, especially if the Dolphins are telling him, look, we're drafting a quarterback, and he's like, I don't want to be in here. I mean, Tua could play the guy who snakes somebody out of their job rather than the vice versa. You know what I'm saying? And let's be real. I think if you're matching up Tua versus Bryce Young, Tua's taking that fucking job, dude. I'm sorry. Bryce Young is terrible. But they could want to ride out with that. So we'll go with no on the on that part right there for now. Let's now Bears. Chicago Bears. Is that a team with interest to potentially put on the list? Is that the 4th team that we can put on the list of likely teams? These aren't definites, but likely teams to trade for Tua if the Dolphins were to go after a quarterback with the first pick of their draft. Bears, let me know in chat, yes or no. Got Bears. We know they're moving off fields. We know they have the top pick in the draft, but could they look to trade back and get a haul? They know they're not a quarterback away. Everybody is saying no, bro. Everybody's saying no. All right, well then no. All right, well let's move on to the next team. Next team is Dallas Cowboys. That ain't happening. They're not moving off Dak.
Nope.
Next team, Detroit Lions. That ain't happening. Jared Goff in there. That is his football team. That city loves him, and that ain't happening. Now, here's an interesting thing. The LA Rams. They have Stafford. To me, Stafford is a damn good quarterback, but is his projected future better than Tua's potential projected future? Is he, do the Rams look to try to reinvent the wheel under, and let's call for what it is, system-wise, a potential type of deal, right? Also, would there be a swap along inside the trade while they say, hey, here's a young quarterback coming up. Rams want him. Rams want to pay him. They want to keep him. Here's the other quarterback. And Stafford, I don't know Stafford's money situation, though. But shout out to Kevin Lee in the chat, the homie, the member. Also, sending Tua to Tampa would keep Tua out of the AFC, and Miami would get Baker. Plus, the rookie to sit behind Baker. Let's go. Smart money moves. Damn, dude, Kevin Lee is freaking drilling it right now with making money moves and decisions. This guy's playing GM right now, Ali. Kevin Lee is playing full-on GM, and I'm not disliking it. He's convincing me. So let's go back to the Rams. Are we
Well,
what do we got in chat, everybody?
in regards to the Rams, I will say that there's a lot of familiarity there because of the connection between Mike McDaniel and the coaching staff that they have there, right?
Yep, there would be a very honest conversation between the camps.
You're going to get similar style of coaching because of where they come from. So you have that. They kind of do a running back by committee, very similar to us. In addition, they have some very good receivers.
It's a system-based offense, bro. You know it. And Tua, and I think we can all agree that McVay can make alterations to tailor-make for a Tua if that's what he so desires.
This is true. This is definitely true.
So, man, we're getting mixed reviews in here. We're getting yeses. We're getting some nos. This is
Give me two
this is,
shakes. Be right back.
yep. Rams, yes. I'm seeing some nos. I'm seeing some yeses. Rams are a dome team. MJW. So that's something to consider as well. Didn't even think about that. And yeah, Glenn, I would imagine that if he came here, there's contracts being worked out, right? And it has to also be into consideration. You worked out the contract with a guy that's in the last bit of his career, and you figure a way where systematically you are, again, you have now drafted a quarterback in the first round that can come up behind him. So there is some of that.
Mm-hmm. So Matt Stafford for this year, he's making his base salary is 31 million, bro.
Yeah, I know. But there is
Cap
going to
hit
have to be a
50
work.
million. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean,
Now, how much of that does the Rams have to eat? Maybe that's part of the reason. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, that is a big
Salute
question.
to the Chiefs gang that came riding through. Wasted bananas. I see him. So the show is saying Team 4 is the Rams. They look to restart. Dang, John Yang saying to us up. So, are we saying yes? Climate control weather?
Mm-hmm.
Are we making the Rams Team 4? I don't know. You got to remember, on the receiving end, outside of the money, you get a rookie quarterback, and you're hopefully acquiring some form of capital. Now, it doesn't have to necessarily be a first round. There could be some swapping going on, whatever. You know, man, dude, I think we're gonna put the Rams on this just because of, I don't know, man. It's got to be one of the many teams, right?
I mean, here's the other part to look at when you look at trades, because the player themselves, they, even though people don't really believe they don't have a choice, they actually kind of can do things to make it difficult, right? Going to the Rams, you get to play indoors, so that whole stigma, I can't play in certain weather, that won't be there for half the season, right?
Mhm.
You're not going to have to worry about rain, you're not going to have to worry about snow or wind or anything like that. You're in a massive financial market because the city there is massive, and your brand and everything can grow exponentially. So you have
Mhm.
that. You're closer to your home when we're talking about Hawaii and everything. And everyone that, the people that are from Samoa and stuff like that would come.
That's
You,
true.
you
That's
know what
true.
I'm saying?
You're tapping. You're
So
again out of the box thinking. These are all
yeah, so for
things to consider.
financially and marketability for the player themselves, it makes sense. And in addition, you have a familiarity of coaching because you can get firsthand knowledge from Mike McDaniel about everybody. They're going to have similar styles.
Yep,
And,
and
and
it's in the NFC as well.
yeah, so
You know there is. So I think we'll go ahead and put the Rams on this. Like again, if we were gonna weigh the pros and the cons, and it's really really close with the
mhm.
chat. But I think the yeses have it over the nose. So we now have 4 teams. Again, Falcons, Rams, the Broncos, and the Raiders. All right, so let's continue down the list. It's a no on the Green Bay Packers. It's next, Green Bay Packers aren't. Jordan Love played well. They like it. They don't really trade for quarterbacks. They don't really do trades, and they typically draft their guys, and for whatever friggin' reason, they work out. So, Next team, and this is a team I see a lot in chat, but the Minnesota Vikings. Now, the time for Kirk Cousins appears to be at an end. Now, one way or another, I don't know, but they could look to add Tua. The one thing I don't know if people are considering, right, and how crazy this would be. Yes, that's 4 teams right now. Q. Brian Flores is up there, buddy. Isn't that the boogeyman? Isn't that the boogeyman? Could you imagine if Tua ended up playing with the freaking Vikings and Brian Flores is back in the building? It is a dome team, so he'll be in a dome. He will have to face the likes of Green Bay in Green Bay, but hey, he'll have to also face the likes of the Bears up in that division as well. Now, granted, the Lions play in a dome, so NFC has way more domes than the AFC. I want to say, what? How many dome teams are in the AFC? 2. I know the Raiders are 1. And God, I can't even think of another one. Oh, the Raiders and the Texans are the only teams that are dome teams in the AFC. All the other dome teams are in the NFC. And I want people to remember that forever. Because it's something to consider. But would Flores have to quit? I mean, listen, if God, could you imagine the reuniting of Flores and Tua? First of all, would they stroll them out there together and have them like, yeah, hey, listen? Or would they go, listen, this was the Dolphins the whole time? You know what I'm saying? This was the Dolphins. I love this kid. That would be nuts, bro. That would be nuts.
Imagine Flores coming out and saying, yeah, I didn't want Tua in Miami. I wanted him in Minnesota.
Oh, what? What?
It was the plan the whole time. No, I'm messing around.
Oh, yeah, Tyrone, thank you. Colts are a dome team. Salute.
Yeah. But they got Anthony Richardson, don't they?
No, but we were just talking about dome teams
yeah.
in the AFC.
I got a team that's not in the top 10 of draft order, but I really think it makes sense. And I think there's a strong possibility if we were to move off of it to I could see them doing it.
We'll get into it because it's going to come along the list eventually.
Okay.
Now, okay. In chat, tell me yes, no, whatever. Okay. Minnesota Vikings, a viable option?
I'm going to say no.
Flores deserved that karma, Billy says. Billy says, hell yes. He wants to just see the shit show. Hey, me too, buddy. I think that would be crazy. Some yeses, some nos.
I'm going to say no, but it has nothing to do with the whole Flores stuff. It has to do with what they're looking to do there.
Well, I mean, listen, he's got a weapon in a dome right away. They run a similar type of style. I mean, Kirk Cousins and Tua are similar. Maybe they think, hey,
that's
look.
the reason why I think that they don't want to stay with Kirk Cousins because, I know this is a hot take, and I know people here are going to dislike what I have to say. At least some people. Most of the crowd probably like what I have to say. But Tua, unfortunately, is what I call a boring quarterback. He doesn't do anything super dynamic that makes him a game changer. And if you look at Kirk Cousins, he's very similar, very boring, not very dynamic. He gets the stat because that's how he's built. He does his job and gets the, average stats, right? And I know people are gonna say, well, he doesn't really have average stats.
Man, Tyrone is feeling you right now, Ali. Look at what he says. Yeah, he's like, why would they want another Kirk?
Exactly. They're exactly the same. And that's the issue. That's the main reason why I don't think it would happen, because they don't want another Kirk. They want something different.
All right. Okay. I'm seeing more no's than
Yeah.
yeses. I see some yeses, but no, I'm seeing an agreement with you and from the majority of the community here.
I mean, sometimes that stuff works. I don't think it's working for us, and I don't think it would work for Minnesota. That's
All
where
right. Well, then okay. Minnesota off the table. Next team, dome team, NFC, the Saints. The Saints. Joe Wrist, the buddy in O-Town. What it is, what it do. Member up in this mug. What's going on, Joe? Salute, homie. Welcome. Going through the list. So, big team coming up. The New Orleans Saints. Not really in great draft position. Could they get a quarterback? Yes. Is a dome team. Tua fits and has always been comparable to Breeze. It's been one of the biggest comps of what his game is. And the people of New Orleans love it. They love that stuff. Now, I get that there is also some considerations with money. But
I'll tell you what, the New Orleans Saints as an organization would love to make that move, because you think about it, how close the Bama fans are to New Orleans. They would be
That's
coming
true.
in to selling tickets left and right.
There is consideration when we talk about the financial implications to it. I like that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't even think I'm going to ask Chat. Chat has spoken on this one. They've been capering. New Orleans is on the list. I'm not even going to push back or argue with Chat at all. So right now, we've got a couple of teams. Would Miami gaining $26 million by trading Tua and getting Baker allow Miami to sign important players like Wilkins and more? I think so, guys. Ooh, Kevin Lee again drilling in the facts.
But doesn't Baker have to get paid this year?
Sure, but if we're gonna measure up the monies in which Tua gets paid and the monies in which Baker's get paid, it is significant. Like, even if you paid Baker a 4-year deal, it is not the 4-year deal you're paying Tua. And the money that you get for now and to manipulate through the contracts like Wilkins signing alongside is to be considered. And, I mean, Kevin Lee just slamming this point home. So, okay, I am seeing for the New Orleans Saints an overwhelming yes. So we will say, okay, that's what, the 5th team right now?
Okay.
So we now have the Saints, the Falcons, the Raiders, the Broncos, and the last team was the Rams. So right now we're at 5 teams that are Chris, I hear you that the Saints can't. I hear you. I hear what you're saying with the can't, right? But we're not I mean, look, in the same ilk, yes, I know they're negative 81, but I remember they were negative 60 something and then signed a big deal to what's his name? The FSU quarterback that, never panned out. What's his name? Jameis Winston. So they signed him. All right, so 5 teams now. Next team, interesting team. I feel like this is going to be a team that is going to have the chat cut down the middle. Or maybe I'm wrong. The New York Giants. The New York Giants.
I'm going to say no, only because they can't afford it. They tied the knot with Daniels or whatever his name is over there.
Daniel Jones, but he hasn't panned out.
Yeah, but they paid him the bag, bro. Nobody's going to want to trade for him whatsoever. Nobody's want to pay that contract, bro. I'm telling you right now. They really set themselves back 10 years.
So he's
Unless
not
some
the
miracle
second
happens,
coming
Daniel Jones ain't doing
of
nothing.
Eli, is he? Huh?
No. I would rather, if I'm the Giants, I would rather like put Daniel Jones on ice and somehow entice Eli to come out of retirement. It would be a better option.
Dang. And Eli out of retirement, huh?
I'm just saying. I'm sorry. I don't believe in Daniel Jones. I think it was the biggest waste of money. I don't know what. Maybe they hung out with Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, and they were taking some of that LSD medicine that Aaron Rodgers
Oh,
drinks
what?
when they were
Damn.
about giving him the money. Dude. I'm telling
Dang.
you, straight up, dude, straight up. That is the worst
Dang.
decision ever.
Done got
I feel
caught
bad
on a
for Giants
peyote
fans.
trip. Done got caught on a peyote trip.
Yeah.
Who that is? That DTA up in this month? What's up,
Yeah,
DTA?
DTA even knows what I'm talking about. He knows what I'm talking about.
I know. All right, so everybody is saying no. So we're not gonna. So Giants, no, we're still at 5 teams right now, and man, we're getting close. Easy pick here. Philadelphia is not. They just paid Hurts. Hurts has had more success in the NFL than Tua, and that's homegrown talent. That's not going anywhere. Who do we have next? Next on the list, San Francisco. That ain't happening. They got Purdy. They were just in the Super Bowl. He's still on a rookie deal. They're not going anywhere. Here's a team, and I wonder if this is the team you've been waiting for, but I could be wrong. Seattle Seahawks.
Thank you. Here, let me, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I would like to face you today as I'm going to explain why this makes sense, right? We talked about financials. Seattle's kind of a big area. There's tons of money there.
Big money.
There's tons of what do they call that? Silicon Valley style of money with different technology companies and stuff like that there.
A lot of people to sell stuff to.
Samoan group there. So you have that whole connection, and it'll be easier for people to come visit from Hawaii and in other places. In addition, this is why it makes sense. You look at how that team is built. They have 2 or 3 running backs that are really good. They're going to run by committee. They already have the receivers. The dynamic duo that they have is really good, right? And I know this is laughable, but listen to the parody of this, LCAP. They just hired a brand new head coach. And I want to like compare our coach to this head coach, because listen to this. Their brand new head coach, his name, and this is not a joke. His name is Mike McDonald, not Mike McDaniel.
Nice.
And guess what they're saying? I've already read 3 or 4 articles, and guess what the common theme is? The smartest man in the NFL. This guy is unbelievably smart. This guy is a defensive genius, right? And he's only 36 years old, right? So you have that common theme that the head coach is young, he'd be understandable. You know what I mean? He already has, he already has the smarts and everything like that. So it's almost like a similar parody. But really, I'm looking at it a football standpoint. The players that they have there, the culture that they have there, I think it would fit in with what Tua wants to do. And it makes sense for his family and extended family to be able to come visit, really close and everything. That's why I think Seattle is the team. I don't think they believe in Geno Smith. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, they got Geno Smith. He's in a lockdown deal. Yeah, but I don't know. I'm not still sold on Geno Smith.
Well, I want to say I want to say, and I think I've seen it in chat. I think Greg might have put it in there. It is a possibility because I think Geno can be moved off of with only like 12 mil, but also if a team picks Geno up, they then get some of that money back. Like it's not a big stretch. And there's also something again about the market. There's a lot to consider in a lot of ways with that, right? It really is.
Yeah, there's a lot to consider. I kind of feel it's right up his type of alley for everything. All the stuff that Tua like represents and the stuff that he's into and stuff. I think in that kind of a marketed area, I think it would be very well for him.
So Dolphins Yard, the WMC. You're late to the conversation. This is a hypothetical because somebody said the Dolphins are picking a quarterback. Go back and watch earlier. We're just rolling through the 32 teams that if the
Yeah,
Dolphins
this
were
is
to
all
pick a
hypothetical
quarterback,
talk, but we're not
it's
being
off
serious.
somebody. Yeah, it's somebody else. Dolphins aren't trading them, and I don't think it's happening. But if there was out of the 32 teams, which of these 32 teams would even be a actual consideration? Because I've heard nobody would trade for him, and then I've heard more than half the league would. And we're almost done, and I think we're only up to 5, and we just got our 6th. So catch up and shout out to Josh, member up in the crib. Salute to the homie. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's see.
What did DTA say about
And
Geno
DTA
Smith?
says they have an out in his contract. So look, they can get out and have nothing. Look at that. I thought that was the case too, DTA. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
DTA, a local in the Seattle community. Yep, that's who we were talking about, Joel Klatt. So yeah, I think Seattle is the 6th team on the list.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, that's just my
so
opinion.
Right now
I
we
just
have
think the
6
way,
teams.
yeah, I just think the culture and everything sits kind of like what he's looking for. Just my opinion. You know, it's not just about football; it's about everything. To be honest.
Kevin Lee chomping at the bit. It's actually Tampa that we're talking about now, Kevin Lee. And Baker Mayfield is their current quarterback looking for a contract. And now they could sign the contract. They could sign a contract with him. They could maneuver the money. It's not going to be the world's most expensive stuff. They know he's had success with them, and maybe they believe in it. Maybe they don't want to sign a quarterback to a long-term deal. Maybe in their future, they've decided that they want one more year with the guy, and then they're either going to tear it down or go full tilt. And maybe Baker does not want to wait around one more. Is not taking another 1-year deal, right? So I could foresee the scenario that Kevin Lee has pointed out and how it benefits and could potentially benefit both parties. I don't see it happening though, bro. I really don't. Now, everybody in chat, what do you guys think? Now, remember, it is the NFC. Tua then, in his own division, he'll have the Falcons to play in the Dome. He'll have the Saints to play in the Dome. And then what's the other team in that division? I'm blanking right now. What's the other team in that division? Why am I not hearing? Why am I not?
Hold on, let me tell you.
The Saints, Falcons, Tampa. Is that the Panthers that's in that division? It is.
No.
It is the Panthers. Yes, it is. NFL Lit is right. It's the Panthers.
Yeah.
The Panthers is light work, dog. Shit. They won that division with 9 games with Baker Mayfield. Tua's been, comparable and more consistent. And in those Dome games could probably show up. Lives in Florida. Plays in Florida. You can't play in this weather. Weather is helpful. And in the later months, playing in the Dome is going to be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
There is some things to think about. But what benefits Tampa? What benefits them? What benefits it is for Tampa in that instance, right? I don't know. Let me know in chat, guys. Is this the 7th team to put on the list? Right now, we only have 6.
Well, I'll tell you what benefits Tampa is seats in or butts in the seats, because that's basically why they brought in Brady, because they knew there would be a huge following.
No,
And
they
they
brought in Brady to win
no,
a Super Bowl, and they
no,
fucking
no,
did, buddy.
bro. I'm gonna tell you straight up. Listen, Brady didn't want to even go to Tampa, to be honest. He just did
No,
because
he
he had
wanted
no
to go
other
to
choice.
Miami.
Yeah, he did want to come to Miami. Exactly. And the point is that look at what happened to Tampa when they signed Brady, right? Take the Super Bowl out of it, because that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the financial standpoint. They sold out season tickets left and right, which they had never done before, right? And they sold them to who? Primarily tons of Patriot fans, right? Because I knew a lot of the Patriot fans that live over here in Pittsburgh
Whoa.
with me who had
Whoa.
Tampa season tickets, right?
Whoa.
So
You
you
are
go
tapping into something here, Ali. Go ahead,
and
cook.
you sign or trade for a Tua, you're gonna
Those
get that
ticket sales
huge
are going through the roof,
Alabama. You're
dog.
gonna get those huge Alabama fans, and then you're gonna get those huge Tua fanatics who
Mhm.
pretend to be Miami fans. We're gonna turn around and get my Tampa Bay season tickets just to watch Tua across the yard. It makes so much sense financially.
There is a
and
financial
money-wise,
incentive here, Ali.
right? And you make a hot move like that at the beginning stages of you building a new stadium and everything that they've been rumored to start looking at doing, and whatnot. So it makes sense on why you would do that. Financial sense. On a football sense for Tua, I don't think it makes sense to go there, but that's just me. So that's where I'm at.
I am looking through chat. There is certainly Kevin Lee is in complete agreement with you. Others are saying it's a bit of a stretch. Some people are saying a resounding no. There is people in chat. Man, this is
Okay, first
split.
of all, I'm not comparing fan bases, just so you're aware.
No,
What
he's
I'm
not. He's
saying
talking
is-
about the bump.
oh,
Talking about no, you. That's what you're talking about. You're talking about the financial bump that they could receive by
yeah,
bringing
but
in
he's trying
Tua.
to say that I was comparing Brady fans to Tua fans. All I'm saying is there's a huge, massive fan base. We can all agree there's a huge following, right? In both instances. I'm not comparing accolades to accolades. I'm just comparing the fact that it would definitely put seats in, butts in the seats, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. And I'm not here to be right or wrong. We're all talking about hypotheticals for the person that said I'm
Absolutely,
wrong.
absolutely, absolutely. So, all right, real quick, everybody in chat, yes or no? One last time, so we can find some form, because this is like really close right now. Just a yes or no in chat. Yep, or a Y or an N. That'll work.
And for me, if you guys want to know what's going to push me to move off of Tua, I got to definitely get something better. That's basically what it comes down to for me, because I'm not saying Tua's the answer, because I don't really believe he is, but at the same time, I don't see us getting anything better unless we're getting one of these top pick quarterbacks, personally. That's where I'm at.
Joe. I don't want a quarterback with a last name Penis. Man, dude, it's still a 50-50 shot, so I'm going to make an executive decision, and I'm going to say yes, that it is a team. It will be the 7th potential suitor for the services of Tagovailoa via a trade, being in this hypothetical scenario. And finally, the last team on this list, potentially the 8th team, the Washington Commanders. Now, the Washington Commanders, I don't see why they would, because what's his name? Howell and Tua, very similar. Howell's cheaper option. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
There's
would
a
they want to?
big rumor about how I'll wait till you're done and then I'll interject with my rumor.
I
that
wonder
heard.
about when we move into the financial ramifications of a move like that. Yes, they would tap right into that Alabama market via geography and all that stuff, especially where he played his football and all that good stuff. Plus, his brother played in Maryland, so there is some of that cooking as well. I don't know. There's a lot to consider there. It's really going to come down to chat on this one again. This is a 50-50 shot. But Ali, what do you have?
Well, so there's a rumor going around that the Jets may be interested in Howell. So Howell may.
I
not
heard
even
that
be
rumor
there.
too.
I don't know if it's true. Again, this is just rumor. I'm just telling you what I read on the rumor mill. That's all it is. The other thing is they just hired Cliff Kingsbury, I think his name is.
Cliff Kingsbury, yeah.
Yeah, and he runs a scheme that I think that would suit Tua. He was with Arizona for a hot minute, so he has that experience with a smaller quarterback, a similar style quarterback, kind of. Not saying that Kyle Murray is Tua or whatever. I think Tua is better than Kyle Murray, just my opinion. But it does make sense. And on top of it, their ownership, I know, likes to make big hot moves, and getting a Tua in as a commander would be a big hot move for them, to be honest. Yeah. So that's my opinion.
Now, Washington does have a pick high above in the draft now. One of these QBs could be within striking distance.
I also have another hypothetical. I have to ask, who's number one on your list? Was it the Bears?
No, first team. Oh, number one on the list?
Uh-huh.
Oh, man. Well, we'll do that after. Let's see if this is the 8th team on the list first. Because then we'll go down and we'll see who's the most likely of the
is the
7 or
Bears
8
on your
teams.
list yet or not? I just answer that.
The Bears are not on the list. They ended up
Okay,
not making the cut. That they're a team that, no, they weren't. They didn't make the cut. It was a team I tried to sell.
There is a hypothetical situation that could be a team, and I'll explain. I have to do some research in a moment, so keep going, and I'll come back.
Well, I mean, they have the 1st and the 9th pick. If they trade back to somebody climbing up and get a haul.
Let me ask you this. Dudley Durong put something on Twitter that explained the types of tagging we could do with Wilkins. In one of them, he says that if we do it and a team signs Wilkins and we don't match, we get 2 first-round picks. Is that legit? Do we know? Because that's the part I wanted to.
I thought it was 2 second-round picks or something like that.
He put
maybe there's a third. There is a third franchise tag that's a newer franchise tag. So yes, maybe. Shout out to Craig. Tua would not agree because of too many cold games. Now again, that I could really understand. Plus, I mean, quarterbacks by and large are not as successful in that fucking environment up there. Even strong arm quarterbacks like Cutler had a pretty strong arm. He did not throw for fucking a lot of. I don't think he threw for over 4,000 ever. I don't think they've never had a 4,000-yard quarterback.
Yeah. So here's why I was bringing it up. So Dudley Durong 11 hours ago posted, for anyone who wants to know, non-exclusive tag player can negotiate with other teams. If not matched, team gets 2 firsts. If that is true, because I don't know if this is true, but this is what Dudley is saying. If that is true, and we let Christian Wilkins do that, and we get 2 firsts, then I see no reason why we can't trade all the way up to number 1. That's all I'm saying.
I don't see a team giving up 2 firsts for Christian Wilkins, no matter what.
I hear you, but if another team signs him and we don't match, then if that's true, if we get 2 firsts. You know what I'm saying? If in that scenario is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that was the deal that the Ravens put on Lamar. Now it's coming back to me. Last year, that was what they were going to have to do. So yes, I understand that. I don't know. I think you pretty much signed Christian Wilkins to that deal. Nobody's giving it up right now.
Yeah.
But what team would? Now, if they did, and now the Dolphins have 3 first-round picks over 4 first-round picks over the next 2 years or whatever it shakes out to be in compensatories, then yeah, I could see a slew of maneuverability from them. But I almost wonder that if they got 2 extra first-round picks over the next couple of years, why wouldn't the Dolphins stick with Tua and straight up use all that capital to then solidify the 5th year to make certain, right? You know what I'm saying? So
that's true. That side of it,
that would be that's more the play I would make out of a move like that. And we're kind of
talking about hypothetically moving off.
Sure. Hey, listen, I'm all, but hypothetically moving off Tua to then hypothetically figure out a way to find a trade partner or via signing partner for Wilkins. Now we're like three moves from Kevin Bacon or whatever the hell a game is. You know what I'm saying? We're too far down the line now. So I'll say to the Washington Commanders as a potential trade partner, yes or no in the chat. Wire and in the chat, let me know now so we can figure it out. Because that could be the 8th team. Then we're going to figure out which of these 8 teams is the potentially most likely. Greg with the no. X Factor, no. Garrett Grimes, yes. Craig is a no. Billy says no. No from the show. Glenn with a no. All right. That looks like it's no. So we only have 7 teams. So, okay. We've killed 2 narratives. And I thought that this was Dolphins Yard. No. John says yes. I feel like we've killed 2 narratives here. Number 1 being that there's no teams that would potentially trade for Tua. There's none of them. And number 2 being that more than half the league would trade for him. I mean, dude, think of how many great quarterbacks there are that are under contract. That's more than half the league right now. Now, great might be a stretch, but just think of the AFC teams. You would basically have to do all of the NFC on here. And if you're going to throw teams in there like the Jaguars would take Tua or anything like that's just, those are terrible takes, bro. That is not a viable option for a potential trade partner. So we have these few teams. Now, I want to make sure we're going to get them all right. We know what we have. The Raiders. We have the Broncos. We have the Falcons. We have the Rams. Who am I missing here? We have the Raiders, the Falcons, the Rams, the Broncos, Seattle, and finally Tampa. Which of those teams do you guys think? You know what? Oh man, I don't even think I can do that. So all right, let's go to the top 4 teams then. We're gonna do an exercise, everybody. Hey everybody, we're gonna do an exercise. Which of these teams are the top 4 teams? Oh, Saints. That's what it was. It was the Saints. Oh, damn. You're right. Oh, no, wait. We didn't do the Saints, did we? We said no on the Saints. Man, now I can't remember. Oh, no, wait. It was yes on the Saints and no on the Bucks. Help me out, chat. What did we say again? I know we had the Broncos. I know we had the Raiders. I know we had the Rams. I know we had the Falcons. Those are 5 teams. It was the Seahawks, okay? And it was the Saints. Okay, Seahawks, Saints. All right, so which of those 4 teams? I'm going to put the Seahawks on the top 4, right? That's what I think. I think the Seahawks in the top 4. I think the Broncos in the top 4. Falcons in the top 4. What do you guys think? Raiders, Saints, Raiders, Saints, or Rams? Which one's going to make up the last one? Raiders, Saints, or Rams? I'm seeing a lot of people say the Raiders. Raiders, Saints, or Rams? Which one? Seeing a lot of Raiders, man. All right, it's going to be the Raiders. So, Raiders, Broncos, Seahawks, and Falcons. 2 AFC teams, 2 NFC teams. All right, I'm going to put up a poll right now. Which of those 4 teams is the top team? Let's do this. All right, poll is in there. Poll is in. Make your votes heard, please. What do you think? We've whittled it down to the top 4, Ali.
So who are the top 4? My Wi-Fi went down, so I missed it.
So we have the Raiders, the Falcons, the Broncos, and the Seahawks. Those are the top 4. I think I know which one you're picking.
I think the Seahawks would definitely make sense to me. Falcons makes sense too.
Both dome teams. Or no,
Yeah.
wait. Only one's a dome team, though. And one's in the South.
Yeah, I think it's between those 2 teams would make sense mostly.
And they're both in the NFC. Something to consider.
Yeah.
Raiders is kind of a tough sell for me. I know the fans really think the Raiders. I get it. It's a dome team. The bump for Vegas, the glitz, the glamour, all the hype that would follow Tua, the owner making a move like that. I see all that stuff. But I just wonder, like, now he's in the division with Patrick.
You heard who they
Mahomes.
just hired, right?
Refresh it again. But
The
I do want to
Raiders,
point this
you heard-
out. I do want to point this out, right? They get that matchup between Tua and Justin Herbert twice a year that they love billing that thing. NFL loves that. Go ahead.
The Raiders just hired Joe Philbin.
Oh yeah, no, I heard that. He's the O-line coach. That was his specialty.
Yeah,
He's
I know.
always
I
been an
just think
O-line
it's
guy.
funny. It's just funny that they signed Joe Philbin of all people. Um, no, I get what you're saying. They love that Justin Herbert matchup. In addition, he would be going up against the Chiefs twice a year too.
Mm.
So that's why I just don't think he likes it, because he knows he would have to play the
Well, I
Chiefs in
mean,
the cold and
again, the matchups and stuff, it would be I mean, listen, Chiefs are what they are, and that division's going to be chasing a way to beat Patrick Mahomes from now until he decides not to play football anymore.
I mean,
But
if you really think about it, who else is in that division? You got the
Broncos,
okay, the
which
Broncos is the other team, right?
it's funny because there's two teams in the same division in the AFC
Uh-huh.
that are on our top four right now looking to go for a quarterback change.
Mhm.
So no matter how you slice it, whether you're picking the Broncos or picking the Raiders, you gotta kind of go. Now here's the thing, right? The Broncos kind of is the perfect deal, but it's kind of perfect in both. You get the high altitude football games in the Broncos, but you also play against them if you were the Raiders, and then you get the dome games against the Raiders and the Chargers, both dome teams. That's kind of a good thing for Tua as far as a passer of the football goes. The only downfall is you got to play Kansas City. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
Which
was
is
just
the
looking at
ultimate
the makeup
downfall.
of that division. It's almost similar to ours if you really think about it. There's a team you could say that represents the Bills, and you have a team there that kind of represents the Jets and Bills, not Bills, the Patriots in a sense. I
Yeah,
don't
there's
know.
similarities in the state of those two divisions right now.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, in the talent level is what I'm looking at. I guess. I mean, that might be an ideal, but I don't know. I just don't know.
Mm. Hit the like button, everybody, if you haven't, please. And get your votes in. Been going for about 5 minutes strong. Right now, leading the poll commandingly is the Seahawks. So get your votes in. Right now, last is the Broncos, and I find that odd. I mean, listen, with all the comparisons, right, of what Tua is and could be in the NFL, and all the comparisons of the similarities, a second chance on a hand-picked guy from Peyton. Can he do it twice?
Mm-hmm.
Breeze, Tua, Peyton, Tua, giving a guy a second chance. Now, I get it's not off injury or anything like that, but Kevin Lee is not happy to not see what he wants on there. I'm sorry, Kevin.
Man, everyone's voting for Seattle. Crap.
I know. Seattle seems like
I guess
the
I really
spot.
sold it.
I just think, dude, like that Seattle division, first of all, it's cold. Seattle's rainy. It's not like you're getting those high flying footballs. I know there is some altitude in that stadium.
It doesn't really snow in Seattle. It's primarily like a tropical type of weather in the sense that it rains a
cold
lot.
tropical. It's like El Nino in the wintertime. You know what I'm saying? I get
basically
you.
what you see primarily in Seattle.
Wet and dewy and stuff like that, and cold.
There's huge
but
Samoan culture there too.
They're absolutely. I understand the relativity to the marketing part. I get why it's on the list. I think about you got the Rams, which they're in a dome. You got that. You've got the Cardinals in a dome against Kyler. Tua can own Kyler. We've seen him do it. Could he continue, and especially in a dome for sure? But then there's the Niners. I guess it's the same kind of concept on the other side too, right?
Well,
it's
here's the flip side of it. No snow. There's
That's
not
true.
a single snow game in that division, so he
That's
doesn't have to
true.
worry about that. And yeah, I get it. You got to play the Niners, but that would really be the only thing kind of standing in
man.
the way.
You know what, man, dude, Seattle. Yeah, I guess the chat is really on board. I mean, look, half the votes right now have gone to it. So hit the like button, everybody. I'm gonna go ahead and say, all right, Seattle wins. It's only 36 votes, but it's really, only half the people in the room have voted. I guess the other half doesn't want to vote. So I'm going to end it right there. Seattle wins. So, okay, Seattle trading for the Dolphins. Again, just an exercise I really wanted to put. We only made it to a couple of teams. It's not half the divisions. It's a quarter of the entire NFL would be interested potentially. And I would say, relatively very few of those teams are really happening. So, okay. Damn, and Joe Spencer says, send me $5 in a second-round pick and change my vote to Seattle. All right. So, another thing that I mentioned on here, like this entire exercise is kind of embarrassing. If the Dolphins, with glaring needs and holes in their roster in the first round, take Penix Jr., that has a high propensity to be an embarrassing thing. But is it the most embarrassing thing for us Dolphin fans to have sitting in our memory? Because to me, I would say that the most embarrassing thing that this organization has done in at least recent memory is Mike Tannenbaum. Mike Tannenbaum is, dude, he's definitely top 3 of the most embarrassing things about this organization. And listen to this take he had. Now, we know that the Broncos are gonna probably end up moving off Russell Wilson. Seems to be imminent. We just went through a long exercise. Now, just see how the flow of the show works. We just went through a long exercise of potential teams that would be in the trade market or looking to go in a different direction at the quarterback position, right? Now, Seattle would be taken off the list, which happens to be the number 1 list for the Tua scenario that we just went through, but I digress. Mike Tannenbaum's answer for Russell Wilson. This is a guy who was a GM. This was a guy that made big-time business decisions for this organization. This was a guy that did so many bad decisions for this organization. We had to nuclear bomb this organization to get it fixed. And this is why he is, to me, the most embarrassing thing with this franchise. And here's a take he had on Russell Wilson. Listen to this.
Yeah, I think he would actually be a great fit with the New York, and here's why. Oh my gosh. Why you want to
Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson?
Absolutely. Pay him $1 million.
Did you hear what that imbecile just said? Did you hear what this imbecile just said? Can you hear the audio? I don't know how the chat isn't exploding right now. This imbecile said the Jets? Let me rewind it a little bit here so you guys can hear how stupid this guy is and how stupid we were for hiring him. Embarrassing.
Yeah, I think he would actually be a great fit with the New York, and here's why. Oh my gosh. Why you want to
Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson?
Absolutely. Pay him $1 million and
First of all, pay him $1 million as if Russell Wilson is chump change of $1 million. Granted, gotcha, terrible money, blah, blah, blah. But was Russell Wilson the type of guy with an ego that says, hey, I'll take $1 million for these reasons?
and let him resurrect his career. I actually have experience with this. Vinny Testaverde got cut by the Baltimore Ravens. We signed him in June and went to the championship game that year. So if
this guy has officially gone from a GM to an absolute joke. He's a dude. This guy, he's like a failed state. Like, dude, how much money has this mofo made in the football industry? He works for ESPN now. He was the GM of the Jets, and he was the fucking what? The czar of the Dolphins, which is even embarrassing. The guy was a czar. A czar. This is embarrassment. This is an embarrassment to this franchise and organization. And you know why I feel like he's the biggest embarrassment to this organization? Because I got to continue to be reminded of how embarrassing he is and how dumb we were for hiring him. Because he gets on ESPN and opens his trap and says nonsense like this.
Russell Wilson?
Absolutely. Pay him $1 million and let him resurrect his career. I actually have experience with this. Vinny Testaverde got cut by the Baltimore Ravens. We signed him in June and went to the championship game that year. So if you're
dude, literally, not only is everybody laughing at him, but like dudes that work in the back on set, the camera guy, the fucking lighting guy is laughing at this idiot right now. Think about this guy flew around on private jets. He met billionaires. He's met all of the representatives, all the athletes for all the years signing. This son of a bitch had the control of billions of dollars of money for years. You take all the money he signed away, and this is the shit. This is why I feel like I feel like I'm in bizarro world sometimes with the decisions and my opinions on the team. And I get it. I talk to chat and I talk to people and this, that, and the third, and I get off topic and I let dumb people sometimes, talk me out of things. But then I get a good bring myself back down to reality when I remember that I have a very astute eye for the game and understanding of it. When the friggin' billionaires and teams are hiring the likes of morons like this that say this is the most ridiculous thing. He's not a talking head, shout at the screen, get a reaction type guy. This isn't, one of these other douchebags with non-life NFL experiences. This is a guy who had the checkbook.
Vinny Testaverde got cut by the Baltimore Ravens. We signed him in June and went to the championship game that year. So if you're Russell Wilson and you don't get
Nola early, Mike.
Hey Bart, where else is he going to go? He has to resurrect his career. So if you have to sit for a year, why not sit behind one of the greatest of all times and then be a free agent again? It's when I was
he has to resurrect his career. Now I'm not denying, he's got to resurrect his career. Sure. He's got to do something, I guess. But behind Aaron Rodgers, the Jets are going to go, hey, we're going to get Aaron Rodgers. Could you fucking imagine the absolute shit show between those two egos being there? You've got, and listen, not to make this political at all, right? But fuck it. You've got, Aaron Rodgers, anti a lot of stuff. Shots and whatever, his personal stuff. And we know how he feels and how he gets, and he'll go on Pat McAfee and tell you his damn self. And then on the flip side, you got Let's Ride. You got Hollywood. You got, placate bullshit ass fucking Russell Wilson. I hope they do trade for his motherfucking ass because I want to see that or get his ass out. You know what? God willing, Mike Tannenbaum, you are right. Russell Wilson on the Jets. Oh, God, I would love it so much. God, please make it happen. Please, I want to see this. It is the Kardashians times 1,000, bro. Times 1,000. Taylor Swift's show ain't got nothing on the drama that they're going to be pointing out of friggin' New York with that nonsense. Let's see how much more of an idiot this guy sounds like for the last 20 seconds here.
Guys, where is he going to go? He's 36 years old. No one's going to hand him a starting job. He's going to have to be a backup somewhere. The flowing part.
You know what? I think the Jets should just start signing all the fucking old-ass quarterbacks. Just sign them all. Sign every over-the-hill old-ass quarterback. Just stack the team with it. Business model complete. We will sign the bullshit. I mean, fuck, they've been there. Yeah, bring them all, bro. Bring them all. Oh, man, that is funny, dude. Yeah, bring all these old guys. Dude, we're going to set up a senior citizen, fucking 55 and up community just for, you see that? There's our stadium. There's our workout facility. And over there with the tennis courts and the golf carts and, you know, the skee ball thingy that they do, that's where our quarterbacks live. Yeah, we got a whole center for them over there now. You know, round the clock, everything. Oh, man, dude, that would be great. Yeah, please. I will say this. If Mike Tannenbaum, since becoming a ESPN affiliate, later in his life writes a memoir and go, you know, I didn't believe any of that. I was acting all these dumbass takes, which I don't believe it's an act. I think he's really that dumb. I mean, dude, look at the guy's fucking face. He's got the doofus face for sure. But yeah, if it was all an act, man, dude, that guy deserves a fucking Oscar or some shit. But here's the thing. I posted this video, and the slew of other embarrassing things came absolutely water falling down on me. Water falling down on me. Because I pointed out, God, dude, this guy, this embarrassment, this skid mark stain on the underwear of the Dolphins is the worst of them all. This Mike Tannenbaum doofus. Because, again, I got to see him again and again and again on ESPN making the most retarded takes that then I got to be reminded that, God, that guy used to make not business decisions. He made all the decisions. Anyhow, this is terrible. I'm just going to rattle them down real quick, a couple of the highlights. Okay? And shout out to Scotty Hollywood, who started some of this chatter. He says, Jeff Ireland, Dion Jordan, obvious Mike Tannenbaum, the Bullygate situation, Joe Philbin's entirety, Cam Cameron's 1-15. The handling over Deshaun Watson and Brady situations, us getting stricken because of the Brady situations. The Flores situation, whether it was a good coach, a bad coach, a mean guy, just the absolute skid mark of it. Let's see, I'm going to scroll down because some people had some other ones that I didn't even think of. The cocaine gate with Forrester and strippers doing fucking gaggers in the freaking facility. Again, I would put that more under, you know, the Adam Gase stuff. The Nick Saban exit. Oh, no. The Dante Culpepper over Breeze. Ooh. The handling of the situation with Sperano and going after Harbaugh to not get him. Ooh, goodness. All of these hurt so much. The Sue signing? I don't know. I mean, yeah, we got kind of screwed in the long run, but damn, dude. Which of these is the stain of stains? I still think it's Tannenbaum. You know why? Because a lot of those skid marks I can put at his feet. I mean, first of all, a couple of them were all under his tenure. Right? There's some old things, there's some newer things. But again, I got to continue to relive the embarrassment of the Mike Tannenbaum because of this. Color, I see you tripping in the back. What do you think? Am I off base on this one? is Tannenbaum the most embarrassing thing?
I mean, we muddled along for how many years doing absolutely nothing with that guy. I mean, I'm not one to, like, you know, I don't usually pile on when people immediately go to, you know, oh, this guy, that guy. But yeah, I mean, the evidence is clear with him. There's no piling on him. They're righteous in what they're saying. I mean, there's, you know, this ain't a two and ear dichotomy here. You know what I mean?
Color, there's literally a mountain of failure. He hired Adam Gase, yes, Dolphins yard. He got the big Sue contract. I remember trotting it out there as if we just won the damn Super Bowl. And I remember being a dumbass that was, you know, as hyped up as we did win a Super Bowl. Or we just found the picks he made during his tenure. And then
exactly.
the cherry on top for me, Color, is that if he would have faded off in obscurity, he probably would be not seen as much in the list. Yeah, and the Bullygate, too. This all stuff happened that underneath his tenure. But the fact that not only does he have all of these things that are in his file, for lack of a better term, but then it's like every other month, he's the clipped guy. And it's not because he had some really good take. It's some dumb shit like the Russell Wilson going to the Jets. It ain't even concerning the Dolphins right now. But, I mean, listen, the Jets are... look, I have no respect for them at all. But do you think they're dumb enough to even make something like that? I don't want to say are they dumb enough, because that's not the question I'm trying to ask. But I mean, God, dude. Like, of all the teams Mike Tannenbaum could have said, Russell Wilson makes sense going here. He picks the one fucking team with a quarterback under contract that they didn't get to see yet. You know what I'm saying? And his reasoning is he's going to take $1 million and sit behind Aaron Rodgers as if they're going to play nice together as two old heads. I mean, it is the dumbest shit ever, bro.
Right. Yeah, I mean... And as much as he doesn't like our guy, you'd think he would have said us and not them.
And you know what? I would say that's probably his dumbest take ever, but just give him 3 more weeks. He'll have another. Well, fuck, you only have to give him that long. There's all kinds of football talk going on now. I promise you, by the end of next week, he'll have the new dumbest fucking take ever. That's how fucking much of a joke this guy is.
Well, doesn't he have some segments to be on tomorrow somewhere? I'm sure it'll happen tomorrow.
Yeah, oh, shit. I didn't even think about that, Color. This shit could be done. I could be having the same show every day.
Or does he only make his rounds on Tuesdays?
I don't know.
He's like one of these political pundits. You get him every Tuesday on every single show. You know, saying the same thing.
He's got a special guest spot on Tuesdays.
Right.
God, dude. I mean, what a moron, right?
Well, I mean, you know, the weird thing is as much smack as he talks about our quarterback, he would be the first one to keep him. He would be the first one to be doing exactly what Chris Greer is doing right now.
He would have signed him last year, and then would have broke the bank, and then would have spun it to a situation that, yeah, I know he didn't finish the season last year, and I know that he had the concussion issues, but this is us showing a sign of faith, and we are making him the next highest paid quarterback in the NFL for the next 6 years. That's how he handled things. He took a situation and tripled down in the hardest way, as if he laid down the trump card, or he hit blackjack, and it was such a I'm all in. And everybody's like, whoa. And then you realize what a freaking clown later down the line, right? It never pans out with this dude and his points.
Hey, that brings up a good question. You ever wonder which came first? The card,
I would say the chicken.
The card or the man?
The card or the man?
Or the man. Yeah, which came first? The Trump card or Trump?
Oh, no, the Trump card was always first, dude. Everybody knows the Trump card, dog.
I'm just thinking, like, that's a last name. That's not a first name. Well, that's not a last name. That's not a first name. That's a last name, which means that you would have had to go back, what, couple hundred years to find out when the name was given. So
yeah, but
the fact
I
that
would
we
say
now
just
call the ace card is called a trump card, like before he even became the figure that he is in society, right? So which came first, the chicken or the egg? Like the card or the man?
I gotta imagine the game in which people are saying I'm laying down the trump card. The saying to
Yeah,
trump
I did
you,
look
I
it
don't
up.
know.
The first recorded use of trump card was in like the 1800s or something, dude.
Yeah. Why did they call it that? I don't know. You'll have to.
It's crazy though, ain't it? Because
Yeah,
it's
why
not
did
as
they
if
pick
his
the Trump
parents
card?
said, "Hey, we're going to name him Trump." That's his last name. It's not like they could have just named him that because of the Trump card.
I don't know. It's a very odd conversation.
It is. It's a very weird, like, life coincidence that I don't think enough people talk about. I think.
Kevin's fucking enjoying every moment. So, yeah, that's some of the stuff. I had, a couple of other things I really wanted to get into. I guess maybe I'll save that for tomorrow. We are in the franchise tag window that did come up today. A lot of discussion on whether or not what will the Dolphins do. We talked a little bit about it earlier. Do they transition?
And let me
tag
guess,
him?
we've taken no action so far.
We've taken an absolute nothing burger up to this point, Color, so don't you worry. Now, you got to also think, too, Dolphins, there is certain types of tags they could use. I mean, look, if in a perfect world, you can put a tag on a guy, and if he walks, you get these picks back, right? So, I don't know. Is Christian Wilkins the only guy up for what is potentially a tag? Because no one's talking about Robert Hunt. What would his tag prices be?
Mm-hmm.
Would it be feasible to tag him? What if they've hit a gridlock as far as discussions of monies go? What if he's way higher up than they believe and they're way lower than he ever expected? Is the tag for a Hunt on the board? I think we have an idea.
24 years old?
I think no. I think he's maybe. I don't know. Again, really just some things to question. I don't think so. I think Hunt they'll sign, but hey, maybe not. Again, we don't know what's coming up between at these tables. What kind of monies the Dolphins are willing to dictate towards one of these guys, and what are their options?
Well, it ought to be fun the next few days, huh?
So, do the Dolphins make any shocking moves? You know what? I would say I feel like no, but they've continued to make shocking moves every offseason. So much so, I think we all got our pants. We all got caught with our pants down with the Jalen Ramsey trade, and look how they pulled that off and what they got him for. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, there is
right.
There is as long as and here's the deal too. We said, oh, Dolphins are all quiet with this and that. That's typically how Chris Greer and his team plays. They let time pass, and they've got things that they have zeroed in on, and they're patient, and it's panned out. Now, whether it's always panned out, yet to be seen. But last year it was Jalen Ramsey. The year prior, it was Teron Armstead. Now, mixed reviews, but when we got him, he was a get of all gets, and he was probably, on a lot of people's boards, he was the number one free agent available, and we got him. And for less money than I think any of us thought we were going to get him for. So, yeah, it's been a pain in the butt with his injuries and stuff, but when he's out there, he's still really good, and, it is what it is. So, Jalen Ramsey, again, too, that's the other one. Nobody saw that coming, and they figured a way to make that work, too. So, yeah, I would say it wouldn't surprise me if some out of left field crazy addition gets put in with these Dolphins. But that doesn't mean it's going to happen before the draft.
And there's something to be said for always counterpunching, like waiting for everybody to make their move and then making your move. You know, there's something to be said for that. But God, there's sometimes you just have to like be proactive, but at the same time, there's Floyd Mayweather. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
the
you wait
guy,
for them to make the mistake and you take the kill shot.
the guy could be
yeah.
80 and he'll still be counter boxing and winning. You know what I mean? Like,
He's proven it to be a win. Another thing that we'll probably talk about tomorrow or the next day is this new Dolphins hire that's in the building around here. There's been some that I haven't been able to address, but
I've been a little casual lately, man. I don't even know who we got anymore. Bring them all in. Bring them all home.
Well, defensive hire, Ronnie Bradford, a guy who is a defensive backs and assistant coach, was brought, and he will be, which is kind of
it's a good football name. Ronnie Bradford. Really good
he's been
football
around
name.
for a long time. And here's the thing, right? He's a senior special teams assistant. Senior special teams assistant.
Now, does that mean he's the oldest of all the assistants?
No, it's definitely not the case.
Does he get a senior discount?
Well, I'm sure he gets some kind of discount working with the Dolphins.
He goes into Denny's. He's like, but I'm a senior assistant.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm here and getting my assistants.
Oh, did I tell you that? Did I tell you about that? I called the Defense Department and told them that I identified as a 5-star general. They told me to go to Denny's.
Oh, see, listen, they had a good answer for you, though, at least, right?
They said there's a discount waiting for you at Denny's.
Look at that. Cooking. So, yeah, there's that I wanted to talk about. There's also, and we've run out of time on these things, so we'll get to this next time, but Xavien Howard, cryptic IG right now. It looks like Xavien Howard is potentially saying his goodbyes as a Miami Dolphin. And I'll just play this for you real quick. This was on his Instagram account. There is a lot of benefits to moving on from Xavien Howard's finances. And perceptively, everyone is saying it's Cam Smith's job now. I don't know. I mean, listen, maybe, look, does lightning strike twice? We got Xavien Howard, didn't play much his rookie year, came out in the second round, and then the second year really had a jump and was a baller. Could we get so lucky and find that again with Cam Smith? Sure, why not me? But Xavien Howard infamously does a lot of this cryptic stuff in the off seasons. He's done it every year for the past 4 years or so, even though he's been under contract, because the contract's always in a word and a language where he's going to take more money home, but he doesn't have guarantees, but it keeps panning out. Will it pan out one more time? But here's what he had on his IG account, and this is Usher, that he posted a video of Usher. Here's what it says.
Sometimes, man. Sometimes you gotta leave. Sometimes you have to go away from home in order to be truly valued and appreciated. And maybe find yourself. I mean, sometimes in the wilderness, you'll find something valuable and you come back and you can really enjoy it.
Ooh, color. What do you think? Real quick. And with that, make sure you guys are hitting the like button and subscribing if you are new. And we will see you guys next time. Make sure also at the end of the video, in the comment sections, tell us all.
Yeah,
what is
much
the most
love,
embarrassing
everybody.
thing? What
I'll
is
be
the
back.
most embarrassing thing?
I'll be back, man. I'm still crunching the numbers on the wide receivers and quarterback productions for 2023, man.
Color, I have something I'm going to tell you to crunch some numbers in the back. I've got something written down over here, so hang backstage. But guys, in the comment sections at the end of the video, let us know what team would be a slam dunk for Tua and the Dolphins to trade. This is all hypothetical again. I don't want to argue with people in semantics. Don't call me a Tua hater. Go fuck yourself, okay? I don't want to hear it.
Hater.
Yeah, dude. just get the fuck out of here.
Anybody
and
gonna
then-
call you a hater, it's gonna be me.
There you go. Color owning me once more. And then also let us know what you guys think as far as the most embarrassment. Am I wrong about Mike Tannenbaum being embarrassing me? The most embarrassing. Is it the way the Dolphins handled the Don Shula situation? Ooh. Or the Jimmy Johnson situation. Or whatever. Hit up in the comment sections at the end of the video. Let me know, guys. Hit the like button on your way out. Thank you for all the new subscribers. We'll see you guys next time. Fins up.